I don't know, nothing good. I'm disgusted, but yeah, I could have been saving like when I first got a job, but I didn't do that. So I really had nothing to my name, no credit. Yeah, I'm not happy. My name is Pary'ce and I am 23 years old and I live in PG County, Maryland.
Awesome. And what do you do for a living, Paris?
I'm a server at a assisted living home, so not too much. And I'm a dog sitter on the side.
And how much you make a year doing that right now?
Not a lot. Let me think. 1 second.
What's your hourly rate?
It's only 13.
And how many hours a week do you work?
It just depends. I'm a PRN employee, so it depends.
Is it 20, 30, 40 on average?
10 some weeks, 20 some weeks. I guess average, I'll just say 20.
Okay, 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So we're making 13 an hour times 20 hours. So that's about $13,000 a year right now then that you're making.
Right. Yeah.
Sound about right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
And how long have you been doing that for?
2 years.
Okay, and were you in school prior to that, or what were you doing prior to this job?
Prior, I just had another job. I did 1 year of school in 2019, but I've been working. Yeah.
Okay, you've been working since. Okay. And so kind of looking at your finances, how would you kind of rate yourself? 23 years old, working only about 20 hours a week. Kind of where would you set yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being horrific, 10 being picture perfect.
Definitely 1 or 0.
1 or 0. Okay. At least we're being honest. Okay. And in a few sentences, why would you kind of rate yourself for 1 or a 0?
Because I shouldn't be making 13 an hour at my age. And some of it is my fault, but still doing it, so I don't have a choice. I can't complain right now.
Okay, so let's talk about your goals then and where you want to be. So 23 years old, where do you want to be 5 years from now? What do you want to be doing and how much money do you want to be making, ideally?
Probably in Cali somewhere, at least 100,000 a year or more. I don't want to start a family like not too soon, not yet, but definitely somewhere not in Maryland, and 100,000 a year or more. That's livable. This right here is it's not livable for me. I don't like living paycheck to paycheck. So yeah.
And so what's holding you back in your current situation then from either making more money or getting more hours of work at a different job or your same job?
I guess experience. I've been doing hospitality since 2019. So, but I've been applying like almost every day. Every day I've been applying. So I guess experience, lack of experience, schooling. I guess some of the companies they're stingy. So they say they're hiring, but they don't hire you.
So you think lack of experience is kind of what's hurting you right now in the hospitality world?
No, I've been applying to different fields outside of hospitality. So I've been doing like everything outside of that, applying for everything like outside of that, like office jobs and other jobs like that. But definitely lack of experience in schooling.
Okay. And how many jobs a week would you say you're applying to right now?
A day I would say like 10 a week. I guess 1,000 or 100.
You're applying to 10 a day?
Yeah, is that too much?
No. I was gonna say if you're not applying at 10 a day, then you need to crank it up. But if you're applying at 10 a day, I think we'll talk about that a little bit more. But maybe we need to refine what you were looking for initially with your next role, and then maybe with your lack of experience in different fields, it might be a little more difficult to find a job in some different fields. You're going into marketing or tech or other things, normal office jobs, and maybe it's hey, what you should be doing is sticking towards the hospitality world for the next job. Let's find a full-time job, 40 hours a week in hospitality and work in that for a year or so, and then use that to snowball into other career fields. But right now, I think that's probably if that's where your experience is. Since you've been doing that for a few years, maybe that's best to, hey, let's stick to that. Find a job that's paying you $15 to $20 an hour. That's 40 hours a week, and then that's going to over double your income right now in your current situation. And then you can snowball that into finding new jobs in the future as well. So that's probably what I would do is if you're not having success in these other fields, let's stick to the fields that you do have experience in and give yourself the best chance of getting a new job in that field. And then once you have more experience in that field, work your way up in a company in hospitality. I mean, whether it's going for working for a hotel or someone else in the service industry, then you can then snowball that into another career field. But when you're working 20 hours a week, maybe it's some other stuff you get on your resume before you jump ship into a different career field. So
Okay, thank you. Should I be taking notes?
I'll send you a bunch of I'll send you a list of different stuff of what I think current situations, some different things I'd change and do. But the job obviously right now is first and foremost probably the number one priority in your current situation is working 20 hours a week. That means we got 20 plus hours a week to be working and getting that income up so that you can afford to live on your own or just start paying off some of this debt. But right now, working 20 hours a week makes a lot of things difficult to survive. So
Exactly.
okay, so let's talk about current assets and debts then. So, assets. What assets do we have right now? Do you have a car?
No, I'm using somebody else's.
Okay.
My grandfather's, he passed away, but I've been using his. My mother has been, I actually just got in an accident, so my mom took care of that. So my mom pays all the bills. I mean, I pay for gas, but
Okay. So you got no car. Do you have any retirement accounts or investment accounts?
no, not anymore. No.
You had a retirement account? What happened to that?
So I had it with my other job, but I transferred it out once I left that job.
Did you liquidate it and sell everything in it?
No,
What happened to it then?
like once I left the job, I didn't realize I was younger. I didn't realize, I could have kept it, but so like once I left that job, I just transferred everything out. And yeah, but now I know.
You can't be taking stuff out of retirement accounts, especially at your age, because that's just destroying your financial future and where that can grow to be. Okay, and then any savings in your bank account right now?
No.
What's the amount in your bank account right now?
So I just use it all like for the IRS, but my mom has a separate account for me. I'm not sure how much I have left. I would have to ask her, but I just use like most of it for the IRS.
Okay, so what is the balance of your current bank account right now?
Okay, so it would be like maybe 50 I have left.
$50. Okay. And then debts. When you first reached out to me, this was a few weeks ago, so I don't know what the status of it is. I know we had a personal loan of 2,000, we had Wells Fargo for 1,000, and we had the IRS for 2,000. So what does your current debt look like right now?
So the IRS is actually 3,000. I got the number wrong, but that still stands. Wells Fargo is the same, 1,000. And then what was the other one?
You said a personal loan for 2,000.
Oh no, no. Disregard that.
What happened there?
So I don't know why I said that. I didn't take any loan or anything. It's been like a couple months, so excuse me, but I don't remember any personal loan. I haven't asked anybody for a loan, but yeah, the Wells Fargo is correct.
You said you had to pay a colleague for a purchase soon.
Yeah, but that's on hold because that's not a priority.
Okay, so you haven't purchased that and you haven't taken that loan from someone yet.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, let's refrain from doing that. Figure out what was that purchase supposed to be?
It was puppy.
You're gonna buy a puppy for $2,000. Pary'ce, that definitely needs to be on hold. And I'm a huge dog person. I have a cute little 9-month-old puppy, and buying a puppy right now when we don't have income to sustain and survive yourself, a puppy needs to be the last thing you be doing right now. Because guess what? Puppies are expensive. Dogs are expensive. They're not easy to take care of, and they take a lot more money than people typically think. So let's put that on the back burner for a while, please.
Okay.
Any other debt that I'm missing right now?
No, I mean I have a list. They're like small debts, but it's like on my phone, my other phone. Did you?
Okay, so let me see. You might have emailed them to me. I see you had I think it's $150 in medical bills.
That's paid off.
That's paid, okay. And then you had 52 to Klarna. Is that still going?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the other bills? And I guess just overarching, what is the balance of debts we're missing right now?
It's like probably like $100. The big ones are Wells Fargo and IRS. I can remember off the top of my head, but
Okay. So $100 in other debts then.
yeah.
Okay, so that brings your total debts to $4,100, and your total assets is $50. So your net worth is negative $4,050. What does that number say to you right now?
I don't know, nothing good. I'm disgusted, but yeah, I could have been saving like when I first got a job, but I didn't do that. So I really had nothing to my name, no credit. So yeah, I'm not happy.
Well, good. Well, if you're not happy, that means, hey, you have some desire to change the situation. That's the point of this conversation. This call is like, okay, what can we do to get Pary'ce out of this situation? What can you do to change your financial future and trajectory so that when you're 24, 25, hey, that number is positive and growing. And then when you're 60, hey, how do we get that to over $1 million? And so you can retire and enjoy life and do what you want to do. So that's kind of why I started the show is let's figure out, you're young, you're 23 years old, you have your whole life ahead of you. What are some small things that you can start changing today that are going to directly impact your future and change your life? So how's that sound? How does it feel to retire? How would it feel to retire a millionaire and get your net worth to a positive growing number in the next 12 months?
Okay, so it broke up like just a little bit.
How would it feel to retire a millionaire one day and to get your net worth to a positive number in the next 12 months and start growing that in a good direction?
It would feel good. Great.
So are you ready to get to work? Are you ready to do the not fun stuff of paying off debt and start learning how to save and invest money?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Sweet. Well, we're going to talk all about that, all about what can you do in your current situation to improve it. Before we do that, I kind of want to talk about you a little bit more and understand your childhood and your upbringing. So, where are you from, and what was your childhood like? And how did we get to Pary'ce today? Just kind of tell us a little bit more about who Pary'ce is and what got you to this point today.
So I'm from PG County, Maryland. My childhood, it was fun. It was cool. From what I can remember, Paris is a shy, extra creative girl, but I had a good childhood from what I can remember with my parents and my sister. I have three sisters. One lives in North Carolina, another she lives with me, and my another one is she's my stepsister. But I had a good childhood. My parents are divorced. I think that affected me a little bit growing up, and I'm just not realizing it. But yeah, they're divorced now. I had a good childhood as I've grown up, and yeah, that's it from PG County.
So, growing up in Maryland and with your family, sisters, kind of what was your parents' mentality towards money, or did they ever teach you or talk to you about money kind of growing up?
Not that I can remember. No, recently, yeah, like when I first got a job, yeah, they kind of were on my butt about it, but not growing up. Not growing up. Not no, I can't remember.
Okay, well, and that's common. That's typical in America. That's why, again, why I started this. It's just not talking enough in homes, and we got to start figuring out how do we change financial literacy and education across America because lands people in a whole lot of debt and kind of destroys and affects their future drastically. And right now, looking at your balance sheet with $3,000 of debt to the IRS, that means that there was a misunderstanding on what taxes were, how much money owed in taxes, and we got to figure out how do you avoid that. So moving forward, you're not finding yourself in debt to the IRS. How do you get out of debt to the IRS? So you can start enjoying life and doing things. So,
Right.
what do you think? Are there any important financial lessons that you can kind of remember just from watching your parents spend money growing up?
No, not really. I'm gonna be honest. No.
Are there any lessons that you can remember just from watching other people or you've seen on the internet or something that you think are important lessons that you need to apply to your life?
Just people investing in Bitcoin, savings account, getting multiple jobs, starting like in real estate, like simple stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, crypto is not the first place to start right now to build wealth. That could be a small percentage of your portfolio one day, but I would not jump out the gate and say, "Hey, let's put money in Bitcoin because it is very volatile." But saving money in a savings account, investing, whether it's real estate or index funds, can be a good long-term play. But the most important thing is before you invest in anything, you have to understand what it is because if you invest in something that you don't know what it is, then it's a lot easier to lose money and it's not fun losing money. So before you start investing, we got to learn all about different assets, how to invest, what it is, implications of different investment strategies. But I'll send you a lot of resources on investing as well. But talking about college, you said you went to school for a year. What were you studying? And was it a little community college you went to? Well, tell us about that a little bit.
Yes, I went to school for 1 year, 2019 to 2020. I studied biology for a year. It was at Anne Arundel Community College. I don't know if you heard of that, but yeah, it was just for 1 year. But I'm back in school now.
Okay, so you're back in school now?
Yes, my mom's paying for everything.
Okay, and what are you studying?
It's just a small program at PGCC, Prince George Community College. So it's the vet assistant program, like more like into dogs a lot. So my mom, she thinks that it's my calling, so she invests her money into it. So I've been doing this since April.
What's the is it an associate's degree, bachelor's degree, and what is it in?
Vet assistant. So
Vet assistant? Okay.
yeah, it's just like a certificate, I think, or a license. Can't remember. Yeah, it's just a program.
Okay, so program to become a vet assistant, and how long does that program last? Is that gonna be a year, 2 years?
No, it's until October.
Okay, so once October turns around, you'll graduate and you'll be able to go get a full-time job as a vet assistant.
Yes.
Awesome, okay. And what is do you know what your expected income is as a vet assistant up in Maryland?
No, I actually didn't look into it. I don't think it's that much though, but I'm still looking like to be a vet radiologist or a technician in that field, something like that. Somewhere of that sort, but no, I haven't looked into it. I don't think it's that much. That's why I'm looking to do other things in that field.
Okay, so the average veterinary assistant in Maryland, quick Google search shows about 36,000 a year. So anywhere from 28 to 42 it looks like. Hourly about 16, but there's a wide range of different stuff on here. So definitely an increase of where you're at now, but then also like you said there's potential to scale in that career into different things in the veterinary world as well. And it sounds like it's something you're passionate about too. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, about your future career and path and everything with that. But thank you for sharing that. Okay. So let's talk about the current budget you sent over then. So you sent over these documents and looking at it. So your current gross income right now is on a monthly basis is somewhere around $1,000 to $1,200. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. And are taxes taken out before it hits your bank account or after you have to figure out your own taxes?
Before.
Before. Okay. So what is your monthly take home pay, would you say?
So recently I realized I didn't have anything taken out. So that's why I owe the IRS. I've been owing the IRS, but I put $20 because the check is already small, so I put a small amount. But nothing was being taken out at all. Like these last 2 years I've been working there, I just realized that.
So if you're making $20, sorry, if you're working 20 hours a week, $13 an hour, and we do that by 4, that's about $1,040 a month that you should be bringing in. So after taxes, you should be receiving between $750 and $800. Does that sound right? Is that how much you're receiving right now?
Yes.
Okay, so you're getting about $750, but found yourself in a world of mess since taxes are not taken out. So is it $3,000 for last year's taxes then?
Yeah.
Okay. So bring about $750 a month, which is not much to live off of then.
No, and it's bi-weekly, so it's like
Okay, so the median income in Maryland is $98,000, but that is on a household basis. So that is with 2 individuals. I think with single people, the median income about $57,000. Okay, so the median income is about somewhere in the $50,000 range, it looks like, for a one-person household. So we're definitely way below the median income. So we got to figure out how do we get you increase your income. And like we said, the first thing that probably starts with is how do we find a job that is paying you 40 hours a week? Or if you're working 20 hours a week with this current job, how do you find a job that's also paying you 15, 20 hours a week so you have more of a full-time workload? So on your current expenses, rent, you're paying about $170 a month, it looks like, and you're living with your family, correct?
correct. I'm not paying rent right now.
Why aren't you paying any rent right now?
Cause I just want to pay the IRS, but she's on the verge of kicking me out anyway, so I will be paying it starting July.
So your mom's gonna kick you out because you're not paying any more rent?
No, I mean she knows I haven't been working for the past 3 months, so
Oh, so you haven't been working all the last 3 months?
yes, I had surgery in March, so
Oh, so we have zero income coming in right now then.
right. But I mean I had this job for two years, but I started working in June, so I haven't.
Okay, so you've been working the last few weeks then.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. So no rent right now. Are you paying anything towards utilities?
No.
Okay. And then gas, are you spending about $100 a month on gas?
Yes.
And about $50 a week or a month towards groceries you put?
No, actually I'm not.
Nothing towards groceries. Okay.
No.
And then under fund money, you put subscriptions 100, eating out 50, personal care 500, shopping 100, pet 300, and travel $2,500. Where did those numbers come from?
I just like estimating them. Some of them.
You can't be spending $500 a month on personal care, $2,500 on travel. You don't have the money to do that right now.
Right. Yeah. Some of those you can disregard those too.
Are those that what you want to spend, or where do those numbers come from? I'm confused.
Yeah, in the past, yeah. Yeah, when I had a better job back then, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just right now in your current situation, personal care maybe should be spending $50 a month. Shopping should be a big old zero. Pet should be zero because we're holding off on the pet, and travel should be a zero right now because shouldn't be traveling when we don't have a full-time job and debt to the IRS. Okay, so if we stick to this, we'd have $300 a month in total living expenses, and you're making $750, so that means we should have money left over each month, but currently we do not. So obviously you've been out of work for the last 3 months, and you started working this month, but we got to figure out how do we change your financial situation because not a spot I want you to be in with negative net worth and $50 in your bank account because very difficult to live if you're living like that. So let's look through some of these different transactions that you sent over then because there were some that I had some questions on. So I guess actually I want to ask you first. So where has your money kind of gone over the last year? Do you budget? Do you look at your transactions, or like where's this money going? If you're living at home, you're not paying much in rent, and you're making $700, $800 a month.
It's been going to personal care or like utilities, stuff I need. So I haven't been saving at all.
So has it gone to shopping and just other necessities that, or other things that are not necessities right now that you need, but you just want it and you spend money on it?
Yes, like in the past, yeah, I have been doing that. That's why I'm in this position right now because I have nothing.
Okay, so we got to figure out how do we curb these bad habits and put yourself in a spot where you can start saving money. Then, so looking through these transactions, you DoorDash. This is from March. You DoorDashed something from Target. Why are we DoorDashing things right now?
You said from March
Yeah.
of this year. So I had brain surgery. I couldn't walk. So I guess I'm sure it was something I needed because my mom, she still works. But
What type of surgery did you have? If you don't mind me
I'm a
asking.
bunion surgery. So they removed my bunion.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you're on crutches or not able to walk for a few weeks,
No, I would say like I'm off.
a month. Okay. Wow. Okay. So DoorDash, are we still DoorDashing today?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say DoorDash needs to go out the door no matter what. I guess while you're not able to walk or go to the store yourself, you're doing that. But DoorDash is one of the most expensive ways to get food, to get things. So make sure you stop doing that. And then we got Amazon and TikTok Shop are the next two things. So I don't think TikTok Shop is a necessity. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump at whatever's on Amazon for $12, not a necessity either. So those two things is like when you're in your situation right now, you owe the IRS $3,000. Hey, let's put a pause on all shopping, on all unnecessary things. And then once you get a budget and you start saving money, then hey, we can start allocating some money towards these things.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking back at your transactions, let's see what else we have in here. We've got a bunch of little Apple Cash. It looks like you're sending to people that are like $5, $10, $15. Amazon Prime for $16. Amazon payments for $50. More Amazon. So Amazon's your best friend. More on Apple Cash. So those are the main things. I mean, it doesn't look like you're spending besides on Amazon, and you're sending money to people on Apple Cash right now. So it's not like you're spending on this current statement is outlandish and crazy in terms of spending hundreds of dollars on single items, but there are items on there like some of the Amazon ones I'm sure are not necessities, and the TikTok Shop, I can promise you, is not a necessity if you're buying off TikTok Shop. But these are the types of things right now when in your current situation with debt that you have, with the lack of income too, since you had surgery, we need to be making sure you're not spending things on not true necessities. Yes, if you need soap and shampoo or food, like from the grocery store, that makes sense. But if you're door dashing food from eating out, if you're buying things, shopping that are not necessities, then hey, those are things that need to not be happening right now until you kind of get your spending under control, until you get your income in a better spot, and then you can start allocating money towards those types of things. Does that make sense?
It does a lot of sense.
And so one thing I'd suggest too is when it comes to budgeting, some of these transactions, they look small. The Amazon's $5, $10, $20 each transaction, but you need to be tracking every single expense. Every single month, you should have a report, whether you're using an app. I use one called Copilot or using a spreadsheet, but you track every single expense and you know, okay, I spent $1,000 on shopping this month, or I spent $300 on food, and all the different transactions might look small because they're $20, $30 each, but they add up a lot when you put 10, 20 of them different together. So that's something I definitely suggest moving forward, is making sure you're tracking your spending every single month, because if you can't track and control your spending right now and live below your means, you said you have a goal of making over $100,000 a year in the next few years. And believe it or not, over 49% of Americans making over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. And that's because of lifestyle creep. That's because they don't track their expenses. And so if you can't manage your money when it's a small amount of money, it's going to be just as difficult to manage money when you're making a lot more money, because you're going to say, oh, I'm making a lot more. Let's go shopping today, or let's go spend money at restaurants. And so it really starts with the foundation start, whether you're making $5,000 a year or you're making $100,000 a year. The foundations are the same, where you need to know how much money you're making, and you make sure you're spending less money than you make. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself living paycheck to paycheck and money going out the door just as quickly as it came in. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Is that kind of surprising that 49% of people making over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck?
It does. Yeah, it does. Now that you said it, yes, it does.
You would think that, hey, you're making $100,000 a year, over $100,000. Hey, you got money left over. But the issue is people go from making $50,000 to $75,000 to $100,000 and they don't save. They're like, oh, I'm going to go eat out now, or I'm going to go take this nice vacation, or I'm going to go buy this new fancy car and have a new car payment. And all the money that they got in their raise just disappears like that. And they find themselves in the exact same spot. They wake up a year later and say, I thought I was making more money. What happened? And all the money's just going out the door. So that's why it's very important, especially in your current age, is start building these good foundations and habits of how to track spending, how to budget right now, because when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50, it's going to make managing money so much more easier when you're making more money. So,
That's true.
okay, so let's talk about a few things then. So right now we have $4,000 worth of debt on the table, and we got to figure out a few things. The first thing you need to figure out is a job. I would say you need to continue to hustle, trying to find a job, applying to 10 plus jobs a day, and finding jobs that are in fields initially that you have experience in. So I know if you want to change careers or go in a different industry, that's great, and you should do that. But initially, let's figure out, how do we get 40 hours? Let's put all of our energy into finding a job that pays us for 40 hours a week worth of work and increase your income that way. And then once you get that under your belt, then okay, then we can start exploring other career fields and other jobs and opportunities. But right now, let's do what you have the most highest likelihood of success in, of something that you have experience in, something that you are familiar with the career that world. And then once you get that, then we can be a little more adventurous into exploring new careers. So first and foremost, you need to be finding a job that's paying you 40 hours a week worth of work and increasing your income drastically with that. So working only 20 hours a week right now, your income is going to double overnight just by finding a job that has more hours for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So your second step with that is budgeting. I mean, you got to budget no matter what, whether you have a new job or not, but budgeting is very important, critical step to know how much money you're making and how much money you're spending, and make sure you have a plan. All a budget is a plan. It's, hey, I'm making this much money, and that means I need to spend this much money because I need to spend less money than I'm making. And that is how you are able to save money and pay off debt and invest. So write out a plan, write out a budget with your current income, and then when you get a new job, with new income, and that's kind of your guideline on how much money you can spend in different categories. Third is, with that new budget, you need to have a buffer in there so you can start paying off debt. So right now we have $4,000 worth of debt, and we owe the IRS, Wells Fargo, and miscellaneous other $100 worth of debt. So what you need to be doing is having a plan to attack that. Whether it's this new job gives you $400 a month towards paying off debt, $300, whatever that number is, all that money is going towards paying off the debt as quickly as possible. So I'd start with the IRS because you don't want to owe the government money. You don't want to owe the IRS money at all. That's not something you want to do. So I'd be doing the IRS first, and then the other debt, and then the Wells Fargo debt. So in that order.
Okay.
But figure out what that payment plan is with them. Don't just pay the minimum, because that's just going to take you a lot longer to pay off, and you want to get that knocked down as quickly as possible. And so that's how I do it. IRS, then the other debts, and it's only $100, and then the Wells Fargo debt. And then after that, once you're debt free, that's when you start building up an emergency fund, so that if life goes wrong or things happen, then if you have surgery, or aren't able to work, or say you're driving your grandpa's car and they got an accident, you have money to pay for those types of things in case of emergencies. But then you have to really start figuring out, what is your plan moving forward? Do you want to move out on your own? What does that look like? What does a budget look like? Can you afford to live on your own? Do you need roommates? You need a higher paying job before you can move out on your own? What does it look like to invest? But I guess we can talk a lot about things right now about investing or saving for the future. But I think right now the main priorities need to be is getting a job, attacking this debt, and then Pary'ce needs to figure out, okay, where do I want to go? Do I want to change career fields? Do I want to move states? Because it sounds like you don't want to be in Maryland forever. But then I'll get your situation under control first, and then you can start looking at all these different options, because moving costs money, changing career fields takes time, finding the right opportunity with that. You need a car if you move somewhere else too, because that's obviously going to take money to save up for as well. But once you get a higher paying job, you pay off this debt, and you start building up a savings account, then it's going to be a lot easier to kind of make some of those decisions. So
I agree.
And then the fun starts in life with investing. So I want to ask you a quick question about investing. So say you're debt free before your 24th birthday, and you start investing $500 a month towards a retirement account when you're 24 until you're age 67. Do you know how much money you'd have roughly at 67 if you start investing $500 a month into a retirement account?
100K, a million? No.
$1.6 million. And that's averaging a 7% rate of return. And that would be pretty cool waking up when you're 67 with $1.6 million, wouldn't it?
Right. You said every month?
Yeah, $500 a month for the next 43 years.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So obviously $500 is a lot in your current situation because you're not making enough money. But if you can start saving money, if you get a higher paying job and you start allocating money to the side to start investing, it's going to just only pay tenfold. And if you wait until you're 40 to start doing this, then you'd only have $478,000. So the longer you wait, then the harder it is for that money to grow and compound and start exponentially growing. So That's why it's very important for you to start making changes today in your current financial situation, because you have time on your side. You have a lot of life left in you, and the little things that you change today and start taking action on today will drastically impact your future. So, and when it comes to investing, that's like I said too, is I'll send you a bunch of resources on it, but you need to understand what index funds are. Don't go gambling into single stocks. Don't go buying crypto. You need to understand what index funds are first. And then if you want to one day allocate a small percentage of your portfolio, 5 or 10% into riskier assets, that could be an option, but you need to learn a lot more before just instead of just hearing things on the internet saying, hey, go invest in these things, it's going to make you a lot of money. We need to understand the ins and outs of it, because a lot of stuff you hear on the internet is not the best financial advice in the world. So, okay. So with your current expenses, if you do stick to this budget, you have under $400 a month in expenses. And if we go get a higher paying job that's paying you double because you're getting twice the amount of hours, hey, you should have $700 to $1,000 left over that you can pay off this debt as quickly as possible. And then you can start saving money really drastically. So you have that ability with living at home and having your low living expenses. So
Exactly.
final question, I guess, do you have any questions on me about those suggestions about job budgeting, paying off debt, and then building up an emergency fund, saving and investing for the future?
No, just how do you save your money? I mean, you've been giving me advice, but how do you do it? Like, how do you stay like successful and financially stable?
Yeah, how do I save my money? So my wife and I do when it comes to our finances is when we get our paycheck coming in, we have different accounts. So we have everything come into one account, and that's where all of our money goes out for expenses. But that's also where all of our income comes in. And the second it hits our account, we have automatic transfers that go to an emergency fund that we have, or we're buying a house in the next few years, another house, and we have money that automatically transfers to that. We have money that automatically transfers into investment accounts. So we have stuff like when we first get our paycheck, most of the money starts getting transferred out immediately. So we can't even look at it. We can't even spend it. So that's why we try to keep it simple and easy. So we only can live off of what is left over after everything's transferred out. So instead of having the whole pie in there and having our savings and our everything mixed in one bank account, the second it hits the bank account, it gets transferred out, the money that we want. And we have to learn how to live on what's left over after that. So that's how I like doing it, because if money just stockpiles in there, I'm like, oh, I can go swipe my card. Oh, I can go buy this. I have money in my bank account. So in your instance, if you had $1,000 in your bank account, you're going to want to go spend it. But if you have $50 in your bank account or $100 in your bank account, and you have $1,000 set aside in your emergency fund in a separate bank account you have access to, it doesn't give you that perception that, hey, I can go spend this money. You know, that money you can't touch. So that's how I like setting up things. I like having it as a separate system where stuff automatically transfers in and out. In a separate account, so I can't touch it. So, and I'll send you a video on some people that do that too. Or me, Sadie, he's a big proponent of just making it simple and having different automation set up. But that way, it just gives you a clear picture. This is the money I can spend, and this money over here that gets transferred out, I can't touch that. So,
Right, smart.
yeah. And then other than that, just making sure we stay out of debt. Whether it's getting a new car, whether it's doing different things, credit cards, making sure those are paid off in full every single month, and not going to debt, because I don't want guaranteed payments on, I don't want to pay interest to other people. I want to keep that money for myself. I've had friends that when my wife and I bought a car a few years ago, were trying to convince me to go get a car loan, and instead of paying the car in cash, and we paid the car in cash, and that made us spend less money than what if we walked in the dealership and said, hey, we want to spend X amount of money. They would have gotten us the nicest, fanciest car, versus knowing that, hey, this is our budget, this is what we're going to spend below, and made sure that we did that and didn't go crazy on it. And that way we don't have hundreds of dollars a month going out automatically every single month to a new car payment. So, and then last is having an emergency fund. That's something that's very important that we have, and I suggest everyone to have. Is typically people say 3 to 6 months of expenses once you're out of debt, and that's for emergencies. So for example, last year our dog was going through cancer treatment, and we had an emergency fund set up, so we were able to pay for those types of expenses. If we didn't have an emergency fund, then it'd be a very difficult decision to say, hey, we're going to spend $10,000 on our dog to give him a few more months of life, or a year worth more of life. But we had an emergency fund, so hey, those are things that we can use that money for. Or we had a water pipe burst in our house about 8 months after we moved in here, and because we had an emergency fund, hey, that's not a stress on our current finances, because we have an emergency fund set up for instances like that when the inevitable happens, because life's a roller coaster. Bad things do happen to people when it comes to finances, whether it's unexpected medical situation or family or car. It's always good, or pet. It's always good to have an emergency fund set up so that it doesn't derail you, put you in debt, and you're able to at least live life. It makes those moments a little bit easier when you have peace of mind that, hey, I can afford to survive this time in life. So
Yes, it is. Can't wait to get to that point. But
anyone in this world can build wealth, get out of debt. It's just a matter of, it's up to you at this point to do it and taking action. You're gonna have to stop the door dashing. You're gonna have to stop the Amazon Prime, and you have to hustle to find a new job. But you can do it, and it's going to set you up for success. And hopefully, we can do a follow up in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now, and see where Paris is at, and hopefully close to debt free. So
Yes, I hope so too. Thank you for sharing. I'll try my best not to spend anymore, only for my necessities. Yeah, I need to elevate. I need to have money in my account for something.